Good morning, legends and super legends. It's about 6:20. Be heading out the door in a minute. I got 3 people committed to riding today. Paul, Alan, and Christian. So we're going to leave at 6:30. That's our plan. So I got a boogie. But I'm going to take some clips for you guys. Should be interesting. So we'll go ahead and get ready.
I think something wrong with the battery on the other one.
Yeah, we're having issues with the camera, and so I had to switch the camera from the Hero Session to the Hero 5 Black this morning. We're having problems with the power.
It has a built-in battery. This one has a battery that keep it running. That's a battery that can be replaced. That other one, the battery is built in, you can replace it. But that one, this one allows you to take extra battery and swap it out. I like the other one that's
Yeah, it's funny. I've had the Hero Session 5 Black for a while, but because of the form factor, it's a bigger camera, I really had not used it much. I use it in a group ride where I put it on the rear of my bike. And today what I found out is it's a lot better as far as the images. So even though it's a little misty this morning, you can see everything is a lot sharper than the Hero Session, Hero 5 Session. So even though it's bigger, it just takes better images. So when I was editing this clip, I'm like, that needs to be the preferred camera. And it also has 3 microphones and built-in image stabilization, and it has an automated sound filtering system that actually cuts down on wind noise. That's why if you notice it's a lot quieter than even Session with the microphone cover. So I'm not using a microphone cover on the Hero 5 Black, but it electronically adjusts the sound. That's one of the features it comes with. So yeah, it's bigger, but it does everything much better. So we had to run back to my house to get another camera because the other one failed on us when we're starting to ride. And I definitely wanted to do this ride along. And that's Alan there in the black and white BMC jersey. That's Christian on the left. Paul's filming. I'm on the right. That's a Rafa lightweight jersey I'm wearing. A featherweight jersey, just a different color. I like the way they work in this. It's hot and humid today. You can see we're rolling out. It's barely 7 o'clock and it's 24 C. I believe it's about 75 degrees or something. So we had the ride from the ride start. I went and I switched out the camera real quickly. And now we're rolling out. But it's one of those mornings where everything feels like you're riding in a soup. There's lots of humidity. And one thing about the temperature, when it's very muggy like that, your heart rate behaves differently basically than normal. So it tends to spike a little more than it should. 'Cause normally, we're just warming up here. Our heart rate should be like 115, 120. It's in the 130s. Still zone 1, but high up in zone 1. So we're just kind of rolling out right now. I had my light on because when we started it was dark and I rode to the right start.
Yeah.
I'm asking Paul if he needs help with the camera just to let me know. So you can see we're starting, we're just kind of rolling out. Alan's just rolling, going downhill here. But I'm already in zone 2. And we're really just kind of rolling along. That's why you don't pay too much attention to what the heart rate said necessarily, but how you feel. I mean, I'm feeling fine, but because of the weather, the temperature, and the humidity, your heart rate's going up to keep everything optimal. I'm checking my shoes back there. I'm wearing these shoes with strings on them. And I wanted to make sure they were under the little strap. There's a strap that holds the strings in place when you're pedaling. I don't want them flapping around, getting caught in the chain. That's what I was looking at. So Alan's leading us here, and Christian's on his wheel, and I think Paul's there. I'm sitting on the left, just trying to get loose right now. You see my cadence is in the 90s. Right now, really during the warm-up, you don't worry about it. But look at my heart rate, 157, 158. That's the top of zone 3, theoretically. But for my legs, it doesn't feel like I'm in zone 3. It feels easy. So that's the thing with heart rate. Depending on the environmental factors, that's a four-way stop sign. It really, one on the left side just goes into a little gate right there. So it's not really a true intersection. So we always check whoever's at the front and wave the rest of the group through when it's clear. That's what Alan did back there. So they put stop signs at some of these intersections, even though they're just entering almost like a subdivision, because that one just had an entrance on the left with a gated community. So there's not a whole lot of traffic volume, so we check and we go through. Same thing up here. We're slowing down. The first person is going to check for traffic. It's a four-way stop sign. So Alan checks, so I roll through. There's debris on the road I was pointing at. Let's go ahead and roll to the front. I'm feeling good this morning. And so I'll just go to the front again. I'm taking the lead because the route we're taking this morning early on is not the ones that these guys are familiar with. So I'm just going to the front so I can let them know. Usually within about a mile or so we turn right. But we're not doing that today. I'm taking them on a longer route that has a bit of an early grade so we can kind of get into the ride. So I moved to the front to just kind of guide the group. So we usually turn right here. Most of the time we come through, but this time I'm taking it further. You see me point out, put my arms straight so they can know we're going straight, we're not turning. Because a lot of times this route, most riders go on that side. I'm taking them a longer way around. So now we're getting into the ride. There was an issue again with the timer with this new camera. I think I didn't set it first before handing it to Paul, and I'm suspecting that since I have the head unit and I didn't have the camera with me when I started the head unit, I don't see why that should be a problem because the rest of the metrics are there. So that's another thing I'll have to figure out with the new Hero 5 Black, because it really should not have mattered, but for some reason on this ride, I'm putting on my glasses there. Finally, really, it's such a muggy morning that really didn't need it. You can see here's another stop sign that just goes into a little community there. So we make sure we check nothing's coming, we go through. That's a 4-way stop sign. So what they do around here is the gates into these communities, it puts stop sign to stop all traffic. That allows people to be able to get out without fighting the traffic on the main road here. So a lot of these 4-way stop signs we check, we make sure nothing's there, and then we run. If there were a car, we'd stop. Most of the time they just kind of wave us through after we stop. You can see that guy used the other lane to pass us. Most people do that, but you always get these few geniuses that must pass you in your lane. Even when the other lane is clear. So because we have 2 other riders, actually when I used to race, we were told that the ideal number of riders for good training is 3 to 5 riders. The reason is you get to work enough and you get enough of a rest if all of you are rotating. So it's perfect so you don't sit in the back too long. So now that we have 2 other riders, we're warming up at a higher pace. So we're warming up at about 20 miles an hour. And so this ends up being a very, very intense ride. So this is a grade here, like it says 1% there. It may go to 0, but it stays. It's a grade. It might be below 1, but 0.7 or something like that. But you feel it the whole way. So since we have more riders, I'm sitting at the front longer, even though the pace is up a little bit. I'm just sitting there, so everybody can get enough work at the front and enough rest in the back. We're just kind of loosening up here. We're going up a slight grade at almost, it's at 29-30K, yeah. So about 18 miles an hour. But we're still in a warm-up phase, regardless of what my heartbeat says, 151, which is zone 2. There's a runner coming up, so I moved over and waved everybody over. That's what Paul said. And when people are walking their dogs, I don't like to pass them closely because the dog's on a leash. And some of these dogs like to chase bikes. So you want to make sure you're far enough away that if the dog jumps or lurches or pulls that leash, you're not right there. So I never pass people walking dogs very closely. I don't pass people close, period. Give them a lot of room. Kristen's having breakfast. So. And this is when you eat. When you're doing a group ride, eat early in the ride, or eat before you get to the group, or eat while you're in the parking lot waiting to roll out. Eat when the intensity is low, especially solids, because you're really eating for the last hour. It's the top of your energy stores. So for me, I've already had my electrolyte drink and all of that, so I'm good. I've got some granola bars in my pocket, which I plan to eat. I don't think I've eaten it yet. After I get off the front, I guess I'll eat later. So we're just kind of rolling, this is the point where, cadence doesn't really matter, not a big deal. We just kind of, the ride really has not started. My heart rate's moving up at the top of zone 3 right now. But really my legs are not in the same zone. My heart's doing its own thing because of the temperature. Because the ride is not hard right now. It's a decent pace, but not hard. So these guys don't usually come this way, so I brought them out here so they can kind of check out these roads. This is another 3-way. You can see there's somebody's driveway right there. They put those stop signs throughout these neighborhoods to slow traffic down. Get these people to stop frequently. It keeps the speeds down. You can see Christian looking around. Christian hadn't been out here. That's an artificial lake he's checking out. It's beautiful over the sunset. A nice shot there, Paul. That's beautiful. There's somebody coming up. Yeah, a lot of people, this is when you come out in the morning. If you're going to be working out or doing anything, you come out before 10 o'clock, really. Otherwise, your body will be fighting. Mr. Superman, Paul, this is Saturday. On Thursday, I called him. We're talking, and he said he had gone out to ride. And it was like 5 in the afternoon, 5:30. It was like 40 degrees Celsius. I'm like, you're crazy. And he said, yeah, I had to turn around. It was just hot and humid. So in those situations, it's hard to even get a workout because your body is doing everything it can to keep your core temperature down. So he said, man, it was rough out there. I told him, I said, we don't ride in those temperatures usually. I mean, you'd need a bunch of water, and it's just, yeah. So I was like, you get the itch, you got to get out. So he had to get out. It's funny, I was talking to him. I said, I'm thinking about getting on a trainer, where it's 20°C indoors. So that's a cyclist for you. He had to get out. So he admitted he couldn't really get into it. It was just so hot. So now my cadence is over 100. We're going slightly downhill. It says 0, but at the end I switched to -1. There's a slight downhill here. So I'm still just kind of staying at the front to lead the guys because this is a new piece of the route that Paul and I usually do. You can see Paul's glistening. He forgot to unzip his jersey. I guess it's still cool for him, but I already have mine zipped down a little bit. So there's another 3-way stop sign. I'm already looking. Nothing's coming. So we roll. If you look at Christian's cadence, you see that? It looks like he's barely moving his legs. Christian's one of these riders that, almost like a Paris-Roubaix style of rider. He likes to feel the gear. He may ride 75, 80, or a little more. But he rides a big gear. That's the way he rides. Alan's more of a spinner. So we're just right now, we're kind of loosening up. Alan asked me, right there, he asking me whether the route is the same from this point on, because he's familiar with this part, and I told him, yeah, I'm pulling off the front. I like the way the pockets, see the pockets on this jersey, the flyweight jersey from Rafa? When you put stuff in it, it's suspended. If you put your hands on your lower back, there is a bone it's like almost like your hip bone that sticks out a little bit. That's where I like stuff to rest when I put them in the jacket. and in a jersey, and that's exactly where those pockets are. When you put stuff in, it just feels good. You forget they're there because that weight is on your little hip bone, not down on your glute, if you know what I mean. So I always wondered how they do that, but I guess that lower flap for ventilation, somehow the pleats they put in the pocket makes it stand out. Christian's stretching his back here. He does a lot of running. He does mountain biking, and he said that he injured his back a few weeks back. So he's been taking it easy for the last few weeks, and so he's joined us today. I asked him about it, and he said it was feeling better.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm again asking Paul, let me know if you need help with the camera, because filming and riding, once the pace picks up, it's extra energy you're expending trying to deal with that camera. We hear a car horn, and this genius decides to pass in our lane. He was blowing his horn to let us know he's passing, and the other lane is open. I've always wondered how people, it turned out later on we're talking to some old guy driving a car, and I always make the joke, how is it possible for somebody to live to an old age and still be stupid? Well, take a look at what we got in the White House. So I guess that explains it. Some people just don't learn anything. He's blowing his horn as opposed to moving over to let us know he's coming. He blows his horn. You know what I mean? It was a lot. Anyway, that's what I talk about all the time. You don't let that ruin your ride. You just got to move on. So
That's what I thought.
I was telling Paul, I said, he's a genius. And that's sarcasm, of course. That's what he said. That's what I thought. So anyway, so Alan's pulling us right now, and you can see 36 kilometers an hour. We went down a slight downhill. Right here it's flat. So this is about probably 22 thereabouts. I'm messing around back. I'm not sure what I was doing. I was messing with something. I don't know, my shoes or something. I haven't worn my shoes in a while. So just stretching, loosening up. You know, Paul knows when I'm sitting off the back, I'm feeling good. Because if I'm not feeling good, I'll be tight on the person's wheel. He was filming just to see what I was up to back there. But you can tell my cadence is displayed. For most of the ride, I kept my cadence up. I didn't really pay much attention to heart rate because on a morning like this, where it's really humid, more so than normal, because you know most of the rides we've had has not been this humid. It's just this is late August. It's the hottest part of the year for us. So the body's gonna compensate. So all I'm doing is I'm making sure I'm drinking a lot. We ended up stopping twice on this ride and still making good time because the pace is faster and it's more humid, so you want to drink more water. So I have 2 large bottles of water, and I'm not shy about drinking it. And what you usually want to do is make sure that within 20 to 30 minutes of when you think you're going to run out of water, you start planning your stop. You don't want to run out if you can avoid it. You know, I will show you how we handle it here. So you got to gauge. Once I get on the last bottle halfway, it's time to start thinking about a stop. A bit of debris on the right, Christian was pointing out. And look at Christian's cadence. I mean, I would say he's doing about 70 RPMs or whatever. That's just the way Christian rides. He's still smooth, but he's in a big gear compared to us. But he can handle it. And most of the time he'll stand on these little rises just to keep his gear rolling so he doesn't have to exert too much energy. That's why I never give people, you know, do 90 RPMs, do 95 RPMs. Everybody's different. You do what you can handle. So, But when he needs to go fast in whatever gear, he'll turn it. I just like spinning. That's just my natural thing as far as, I mean, spinning a high cadence. It just feels natural to me, for me. But I can't push a gear if I need to.
Go through.
Lights green as we get there. I think, did it change? No, we stopped. That's Christian's wife.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back home. How are you?
No, thanks.
You ride with us?
No, I go back home because I have the kids
Okay.
and I bring them to Houston Space Center.
Okay.
So I go back to the car, I run half an hour and then I go back home.
Okay.
He has the right to do the long ride.
Yeah.
I'm on duty.
You're on duty.
But it's-
Okay.
Have a good ride.
Okay.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
All right.
So that's Christian's wife, Elena. She rode with us before. She said that she's finishing her ride, and then, because I invited her to join us, she's going to run for a while. She's going to do a run after she wraps up her ride, and then she's going to take the kids, because she's watching them. And she's going to take them to the Space Center, one of the attractions in the Houston area. She does a lot of triathlons, and so they're just staggering their schedules so everybody gets a workout in. So that was kind of cool to see her out here. So we are in the Flint Ridge Hills right now. And when I started to edit this, the first thing I noticed that the picture was a lot more stable. I've got the camera here. I'm filming here. And this is a lot more stable than the Hero 5 session, the little cube we've been using. And it's electronically being stabilized. I mean, but it's really good. I love how close the images appear. The Hero 5 session seems to have more like a super wide. I may need to look at the settings on there, because the settings on this camera is set to what they call wide as opposed to super wide, and I think that's part of the difference. So I'm still investigating these things, because what they write in the book and what it actually does, you have to really verify. Because right now I have all of them on just the default settings. So I'm going to tweak them and test them. Do some short rides with the Hero 5 session, because I like that little cube. It's perfect for the helmet. And then this big one can be on the stick, because I love these shots from different angles. And I think here, yeah, I rode to the side here to kind of get a view of the boys from the side. That's Alan climbing out of the saddle, Paul spinning, Christian sitting. You can see the different styles. Whatever gets you up the climb, doesn't matter. Whatever your style is, whatever works for you. You don't need to do the same thing someone else does, because depending on how you're feeling, sometimes it feels better to stand in a heavier gear as opposed to spinning. The body is always going through these ups and downs, so you have to be listening to yourself. If it feels good to slow your cadence down, catch your breath, do it. Whatever it takes to keep your momentum, or stay with that group. Don't feel like you always got to do any one thing. Listen to your body. There are times when I don't spin a high cadence. There are times when I drop my RPMs. And I will show you on this ride. I think we have it on film when we're in the hills. Some guy ends up riding away from me, and I just stayed with my cadence. So just always listen to yourself, especially when it's very hot or super cold, because the body's dealing with those external factors, and so it goes through its ups and downs. If whatever you're doing at the moment feels good, keep doing it. Do even more. If it doesn't feel good, change it. You're spinning and you feel like you're gasping for air, shift up. Use the force of your legs, because it's still spinning. You're just slowing your RPMs down, and maybe that's what you need to give your aerobic system a break. So always pay attention to yourself. Always listen to your body. And you know, we're going up and down these climbs at 18 miles an hour. That's not easy. These climbs go anywhere from 1 to 4%. So So right here we finished cresting the last one. Christian's at the front. And this says 1%.
Right turn, yeah,
right
right
turn. So we're turning right here. The boys ask. Because they weren't sure if we were doing the route we've done before. Because I told them that we're doing something new that they haven't done before. We're taking them to Rich Lake Shores. And they haven't been out there before. Good shot of Alan there. All our Christian out there. So right here we can see that light in the distance. You can see the red. We can see the light. It's not as far as it appears. We'll get another shot of Alan here. And we're just kind of moseying up to the line, as they say down here. So this is more of a tempo pace for us. The light's green right now. I don't think we end up making this light because it's a short light. Yeah, you see it goes yellow right there. I think it's red. Yeah, it's red by the time we get there. So at this point here, we're at the point where with the humidity, we're kind of running low on fluids. So I suggested to the boys that we modify the route to hit a store before we get out into the longer climbs. Because normally we head out to the longer climbs, but usually it's not this hot. And so we're going to just change the route slightly. We're going to go left at the next intersection. I had mentioned that, and everybody kind of agreed. And that's really what you want to do. You want to talk to the people in the group, because even though you have a planned route, see what's going on that day and make the necessary changes with the input of the other riders, because that encourages people to come back and ride with you. Don't act like you're a dictator if you're the group ride starter. Get other people's input. So I just asked the boys, I said, hey guys, I'm on my last bottle. I got halfway left. I think in about 20 minutes we should stop. So I'm letting Paul know.
Go ahead, left turn, Paul, left turn.
I'm letting Paul know. Normally we go right. So that's what he was expecting.
This is,
Even though we had
Egypt.
chatted. Yeah, he wasn't sure.
Yeah, we're just gonna go that way. The store's down there.
So normally we go right. So even though we talked about it, he wasn't sure exactly where we're going to be turning. And so I made sure I reminded him there. And that's really what I was talking about, is always get the input of the other riders in the group. So the light's red to turn left, but nothing's coming, we're rolling. We're not going to sit in that intersection in this heat, because you can feel the sun. Even though it's early at 8 o'clock, you feel that thing. So what I do, I give Paul the camera here, because I know where the store is from this direction. I don't think he's done that before. And this road is a little rough. So I decide to use the lane. Because the right, where the tires ride on this road, it's not good for your bike. It's all chewed up. You get a lot of, I guess, heavy vehicles. I think they just have not maintained this road. And so for Simon Moses, is one of our worst roads out here. Probably not as bad as you're used to. Because Simon said to make some film and show some of our bad roads. It's not too bad, it's just a little bumpy. And so I'm close to the middle of the crown, and you can see how the road's chewed up on the right. It's not busy, and I'm moving at a good clip, like 21 or something. And we've got maybe about half a kilometer to get to the store, so it's not far. The store is coming up on the right. You can see how chewed up the pavement is. So I'm leading the boys, so I keep them out of the debris, and I'm just pointing, as far as the chewed up pavement, and I point to it. So by positioning myself there, nobody's gonna pass us, and they can see that hole. And this is where we're stopping. This is the Valero I talked about in one other video, where it is like the cleanest in the area. The restrooms, everything's clean. They have water. Just really nice. They keep it clean. So we like stopping. So normally we stop on the way back, but this morning it's just so humid, so we're gonna fill up.
I'm stalking. Let me get out of
I
your
was
way,
in the
buddy.
guy's way, so I'm moving my bike out of the way. You can
It's a
see
store
Alan
that
over
has
there
really clean
taking off his
restrooms.
helmet. He's got a headband.
Real clean restrooms to the left, and then they have water and ice at the fountain. It's good stuff. Yeah.
So you always have to do that. You want to talk to the members of your group
Showed me
and change the plans as necessary. Even if you got to shorten your route someday or something. Don't be put too much into the structure. So after that stop, we filled our bottles. Now we're getting closer to the hills. So everybody's refreshed. And that's what you want to do. It's almost like you stop for some gas. Talk to the members of your group throughout the ride. See how everybody's doing. Don't get into the ego trip of dropping somebody. The weakest member of the group you need to pay the most attention to, whoever it may be. Make sure they're feeling okay. And even if they don't want to hold the pace, make sure they tell you, oh yeah, you guys go ahead, I will catch up at that stop. That encourages them to come back. You want people coming back. We want people riding their bikes. Get your kicks elsewhere. Go to a USCF race and hammer there, but build your group. So Christian's still at the front here. We've hit the area we went through an area called Honia, Egypt, and now we're out near Ridge Lake Shores, which is in Montgomery County, close to an area called Conroe. So we've covered good ground. It's about probably 50 kilometers from where we live, I think. It says 40 over there, so we probably got another 10K to get there. Yeah. So right here I'm messing around with the camera. I'm further back than I should be, but I'm trying to get comfortable with the Hero 5 Black, and I think Paul's more comfortable with it than I am because it's the first time I've put it on the stick. And what I'm doing is I'm getting familiar with the view. It has a viewfinder that you can see, which I'm fascinated by because now I don't have to wonder how the shot is framed. Whether I've got too much sky, not enough road, is everybody in the center. So if you look at this shot, they're perfectly framed. We're riding, and that's what I'm messing with. So it's not that windy, so I'm doing it hands-free, just to make sure I get familiar with how the viewfinder looks and just the angle of the camera. I try to keep it generally straight. Of course, at the time, I'm not paying that close attention to the view in the viewfinder because it's kind of small. But I'm just framing the images to make sure I don't have blue sky in the top of the riders' heads and that kind of stuff. But with these cameras, as long as you keep them square, you're pretty good. So I'm just getting used to it. That's what this is about. So I'm doing all of that at 35 kilometers an hour. It's not easy or anything, but that's the thing about conditioning yourself. All those long 5-hour rides, 4-hour rides. So even though we're going faster with these guys today, my body can handle it. Because psychologically and physically, I'm conditioned to the point where I know I can do this. So mentally, I'm not thinking about it. And that's the way you want to get. So the temperature says 25 C. It's not that hot temperature-wise. We're in the 80s, but the humidity, it feels like 40 C to me anyway. I mean, all of us when we stopped, our jerseys were drenched. You're just wet, and my legs, the sweat was just running down my legs. By the end of the ride, with all the water we poured on ourselves and so forth, even my shoes were soggy. My socks were soggy. I'd never seen it this humid in a long time. So it was an unusual day for us, even down here. So everything was different. My heart rate says 161, which is top of zone 3. I feel like I'm in zone 2 as far as my legs. So it feels a zone easier in my legs. So my body's working harder to keep me cool. So that's why we stopped, because I'm using a lot of water. You see the camera in my shadow there. So because I'm messing with the camera, I'm falling off the wheel. And so I'm having to ride as if to say I'm riding solo. I'm not getting any benefit of the draft here. So I'm moving back closer. So that's something you can do if you're feeling great and the rest of the group is not. You can fall off the back Stay out of the draft, get your workout that way, or you stay longer at the front at the same speed and pull longer so that you still keep your group together. So there are a lot of ways you can get your workout without breaking up the group, breaking the group apart. Because in some cycling circles, that's supposed to be a big deal. You know, oh, we broke the group apart. Or if you're going to a race, fine. But in a group ride, why break the group apart? It's one thing to go so hard to where the group splits. So if you have enough people with you, that's fine. But if you break the group apart to where out of, say, 10 people, only 2 or 3 of you are off the front, you're going to be working harder for the ride. So what's the point? You could have just sat at the front at a steadier pace and still gotten your workout and have the social benefit. You know, that's the kind of stuff I like to point out. It's hard enough getting a group together, so when you do get a group, appreciate the group. You know, consider everybody. We need more people riding their bikes. It's not an elitist sport. Cycling is a common man's sport, even though it looks cool, which I think is neat that it looks cool, but it's the common man's sport. So yeah, there's another four-way stop sign here. We check, we roll through. Now you see Christian standing just to keep his gear rolling. It's a slight incline. It says 1%, now it says 2. I didn't realize it was that much, but that's why he was standing, so he can feel it to where he doesn't need to strain the muscles in his back. Because muscling a big gear too long can get your back to ache. Because there are muscles in the back that you use when you're set up right. You know, you use those muscles in your back. So you can see how smooth, even there's 4 of us, and look how smooth, everybody's nice and tight. I'm staying back so I can get a wide angle view because I don't want to just film Alan. I'm following Alan here. So you can see I'm moving to the side. And this is why to work the camera properly, it takes energy, because I'm intentionally going into the wind just to get a different angle per se. And I wanted to use the stick because the variety of the stick, I like being able to film this view, which you can get with the helmet mount, but also the side views and also filming yourself along with other people. The stick gives you so much more flexibility. It gives a different vantage point for people viewing the clips later. This is a nice change. That's all. We're going at a good clip, so right now I've put the camera on the brake hoods just holding it next to the brake hood because I'm staying close because I'm beginning to work really hard. You can see my heart rate 166. Regardless of that, my legs telling me that okay, we need to get a little bit of a break because the hills have not come yet, because we're going to some nice long climbs. That's what you have to think about when you ride. What's coming next? At this point, you see that guy up there. We see a rider. He's I got to see later. That's the jersey of the Belgian national team when they go to World Championships. Alan's asking me, are we going left? I told him right, and I guess he didn't hear me. It's hard for people to hear you when the wind's blowing and you're talking, so you got to make sure.
Yes.
It turns out Christian knows this guy. We've never met him before, but it turns out Paul has also ridden with him, just being out on the road and hooked up with him, you know, another cyclist. And I found out later, Paul said, we've ridden together. He was telling me on the way back. But at this point, Christian is sitting on the guy's wheel, and I'm wondering, well, we don't know this guy. Why are you sitting on his wheel? You see me move over. We got 2 lanes here. I'm moving over to get a shot. You know, this is not easy because now there's a grade coming up slightly, and Christian had been pulling for a while at a good pace. But I wanted to get this angle so to see this guy. I can tell he's an experienced cyclist. Look at his form. He's got a decent fit. And he's just pulling along. I'm thinking, okay. We just rolled up to this guy, and Christian's in the draft of this guy, and I'm like, I wouldn't do that. At that point, I did not know they knew each other. So I drifted to the back to get some shelter, catch my breath. You can see the roads coming up. That's why I like this angle on this camera. Look at those. You it's kind of wavy going to the left. Then you got up and down little rollers. So right here they start talking, and I figure, well, maybe it's just somebody we met, and then Christian's chatting with him.
I think that's the Belgian national championship jersey. That's what they wear at the World Championship.
I was telling Alan that's the Belgian championship jersey. That's what they wear. That's the Belgian flag. Those bands. And this guy actually ended up resembling Greg Van Avermaet as far as facial structure per se. Thin, angular face. And I ended up mentioning that to him shortly. I think I don't think it's on camera, but you hear it. I'll leave the audio in there because you end up hearing me say that to him. So at this point, they're chatting, and I'm thinking, well, Christian just met another cyclist, and I'm like, the more the merrier. And this probably happens to you guys. You ride by people join the group, and the group just continues to swell. What I try to do when that happens is, at the right opportunity, I talk to the rider or riders, make them feel welcome. Find out what area of town they live in. Tell them about our ride. Tell them about the group. Bikram had posted that he's having trouble finding other riders. This is how you can grow your group. It turns out this guy is recently to the Houston area from overseas, and he's going to be here for 2 years.
Christian, right turn where that car is coming. Right turn up the hill.
So I'm telling Christian where we're turning. He's never been out here with us. He knows the general area, but he doesn't know where well, I want to take him. He's asked me to take him on the road that we showed last week in the video. Christian's a legend on the channel as well. He just doesn't post often. And so's Alan. So we're going to turn right here. There's a lot of construction, but we're turning at the end of this little crest. And that's what I was telling Christian. We're trying to widen this road so it'll be like a 2-lane boulevard on each side. It'll be nice and wide. Christian's confirming that he made the right turn. I gave him thumbs up, and I'm rolling up here. Now listen to this exchange.
You look like Greg Van Avermaet. We are going to do a vacation. There's some nice little fun. We'll do some loops. You're doing some loops? Yeah, just go do one loop up there. Yeah. Christian's never been here before. Oh, for me, it's the first week in Houston. Oh, really? Yeah, welcome. Thank you. I arrived on Sunday. Okay. So still jet lag. Not really? Okay.
Now right there, what I wanted you guys to get out of that is this guy, I liked him right away. I said he looked like Greg Van Avermaet. He said, fortunately, it's not me. What he means is, you guys don't want to run into Greg Van Avermaet. It'll be a hard ride. That's what I got from it. And I was like, cool, So just you meet somebody and just instantly, I just liked him right off. So I explained to him we're going to do a loop of the area. And then I said, because while we're chatting, Alan takes off, Christian takes off. And so now we're chasing. And they don't know the neighborhood that well, so they go straight. That's the road we went on last week that dead ended. And then I told them, no, we got to turn.
You guys, that's a dead end. Okay.
So I rolled through
that's a dead
just to
end.
let
This
them
is
know
the
we're going to
turn.
do a U-turn.
U-turn,
We should have turned
U-turn.
left.
U-turn. There you go. Turn right.
So I'm telling Christian
That's a
after
nice
the
climb
U-turn
over
to
there.
turn right. So stop sign, yeah.
Yeah, that one's a dead end. We found out last week. This way. Yeah. That's good.
So this guy, he's a cyclist and everything. He's like an excellent sense of humor. Just right off talking to him for 30 seconds. I pegged him. I'm like, wow, okay.
You have a bunch of birds.
Good personality, great sense of humor.
What is it? Is the
That was just
Kimmelberg
really
in
cool.
Belgium?
It made me laugh.
Like a wall.
It's funny how, and I don't know him. So later on I find out what his name is, So right here, we got into this climb, and it's a nice drag. Christian takes off. Christian likes climbing. This is what I was talking about. Christian likes to carry heavier gears, and he's going up this climb like it's a flat road. I'm just staying where I need to be, because you want to ease into the climb. 4%, 5%. This is the best I've seen this overlay do on the display. Because that's about right for that climb. It's short, but it's steep.
That's it. Your famous heroes like Misael, the Flemish, those boys.
So we're talking about the climbs in Belgium. I think he's from Belgium, because he's wearing. I just presume
I like
because
that
he's
they
wearing.
named them.
Because Europeans are very nationalistic. They love their countries just like we do over here too. So I presume he's a Belgian rider, so he's wearing the Belgian championship jersey. That's the national jersey.
I have a YouTube channel. So I film and I put it there for other cyclists. Yeah.
You're on Strava as well then?
Yes. Veloharmony. It's an educational cycling channel.
Talking about the
Teach
channel.
riders
He wanted to know if I was on Strava.
tips, cycling tips.
Have to find a way to fix it.
So here we are in, according to my heart rate, zone 3,
So I edit the film.
bottom of zone 4,
Yes.
and we're having a
I
conversation.
have an IT
Try to do that running.
Yes.
Not possible.
It's a good production.
That's another joy about our
Lots of
sport.
action.
What's it called?
You can be working and talking.
Hello.
Yeah, French word.
One of the legends on here had asked how you supposed to feel in these different zones. So here we are theoretically in zone 3, and we're having a conversation. So when you condition yourself, you can talk continuously into the higher zones. I mean, it may not be a conversation like you'll have sitting around drinking a beer, but this sport is very social. Sociable sport. I love it. Can't do it running. I don't care what zone you're running. It's hard to have a conversation.
Need light so it can dry. Yes. Either that or tape on your bars that are not slippery.
He's telling me that he notices, I need gloves because it's so humid, his hands are wet. You know, and I'm wearing my new Rafa gloves, which are working great today, but my gloves are wet, and I have gloves on. And he's barehanded. You know, and that's another sign of an experienced cycler. You can see him wipe his hand on his short there. But when it's humid like that, you gotta have the right tape so your hands don't slip. That's what he was saying. And I'm finding that you need gloves out here. When the weather's drier, you don't need it as much. So that's what we're talking about. So you watch him, you can tell the experience of a rider by just look how stable he is on the bike. He's keeping a higher cadence than Christian. Christian has a decent cadence, but this guy just likes a higher cadence. And so this is how you can tell how many kilometers of riders, that's just a seasoned rider. So it turns out these guys know each other. We find out at the end of the ride, and by this point I can tell because they're chatting, So we come to a little rise, and he just stands casually. So the body language of a rider can tell you a lot about their experience on the bike. And he's very comfortable riding in close proximity. Look at that. There's a foot, 12 inches between the two handlebars. And they're talking. So he's comfortable with that. When you do that, you just have to make sure your bars don't hook. Because that can cause you to come down. If your handlebars hook, you guys are going down. So you have to make sure that you're comfortable to where you can hold your line smoothly. And that all comes from experience, your fit on the bike. We're going straight here. This is a 3-way. This takes us to the climb. So this is Christian's first time out here. He'd seen it on the videos that we've made for the channel. And he sent me a text wanting to know when I could, when I could bring him out here. So he'd been hurt. He had sent a text that his back was hurt. Now, 2 days ago, I got a text from Alan finding out what we're doing. And then he mentioned that Christian would be coming. So I went ahead and sent Christian a text asking him whether he'd like to join us. And I was thinking that we're just gonna ride like an endurance pace and come out here like Paul and I usually do. But this is more of a, I guess, tempo-ish to zone 4 pace for us. So it's harder than endurance. A strong aerobic ride. So at this point we're going up the hill. I'm feeling good. Paul is still filming. I think Paul's got the bug for cinematography, because I couldn't get that camera from him. So, because filming takes a lot of energy, and this ride's hard. So here I just stretched my legs a little bit, just messing around. Nothing too aggressive. I just moved around the boys. I mean, at this pace, I would have to work a lot harder to get away. But this climb is so short. I was just going around, putting through because it's clear. The climb continues. It'll be over shortly. But this is what Christian wanted to see. And after we went through here, he was like, "Yeah, I really, this is nice route." I just like that this area is always like this. It doesn't matter what time of day you come out here. In the winter, I'll come out in the afternoon when I have time, and it's the same way. It's a good ride from where we live to get here. It's about 30 miles, 50 kilometers. You can see it says 48.3. That's the camera on Paul's handlebars rattling. But because of the noise stabilization on this camera, it's a lot more muted than when we do it with the Hero 5 session. So I'm going to spend some time this week figuring out all the capabilities of the two cameras. You can see, even though I made that little acceleration just slightly on the hill, when I sat down, I went back to my pace. And then after the turn, I moved back behind to talk to Paul. I was asking him probably whether he wanted to break with the camera. I kept asking him during the ride because I didn't want him to expend too much energy on that filming. It's something he wanted. Now these guys are chatting and they're riding into a cul-de-sac. And so I went, that's Paul here. Paul said, "Watch out." We turned, Alan and I turned. So Paul's doing a U-turn.
Good for his addition, man.
So the thing is I would expect the guy in the Belgian jersey to do it, or Christian. But Paul said he wasn't paying attention. I don't know what he was doing. Something he said. But now he's got to work a little bit to get back to us. I mean, we're not still riding. We're just kind of rolling up there waiting. Alan and I was laughing about it. I'm like, these guys. Alan said, "I saw the cul-de-sac." Yeah. So Frederick here is checking on Paul, making sure he's okay. Because Paul went straight and Frederick was going to turn. That's what Paul said, "Watch out."
Normally from Congo. Yeah.
How long have you been here?
About 30 years.
30.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's a long time.
Yeah.
He's asking Paul how long Paul been in the U.S.
Yeah.
You must like it here then.
Yeah. Same thing as back home. Hot and humid.
Frederick asked, he told Paul, "You must like it here then." And Paul said, "Yeah, the weather's similar to the Congo."
So you came here as a child, right?
Yeah, I came in when I was about 17. I went to high school in Nebraska.
You can see us up there. We're just kind of we're really waiting. We're just soft pedaling.
Also living in the woodlands area?
Huh?
Also living in the woodlands area?
I live in Spring.
Okay, yeah.
So the signs of an experienced rider. First of all, if I saw this guy without these guys, gloveless, smooth pedaling, stable saddle position, straight line, and you can look at his legs, conditioned, you know right away. Those are the signs. He doesn't need to say anything. You can tell. So So it was as if to say we've ridden with him forever. So then you see all those signs and you have no problem riding close to a rider like that. So Christian wants to do another loop of the hill. He liked it. He said, let's do another. I said, yeah, let's do another loop. And so it was a good thing that we stopped and refilled our bottles before we came out here, because usually we just do one loop. So it's always good to have water you don't need than to run out. I like to get home with water in my bottles. And even sometimes when I enter the house, I pick up the bottle and just start drinking right away. You can never get enough water in this weather. So I had no trouble riding close to Friedrich. He said people call him Fred. I like to call people by their full name instead of shortening it. I guess that's the American thing. So we're chatting. I don't remember what we're talking about. We talked about so many things. That's the joy of this sport. If you look at my legs, the shine is sweat. I mean, it's just so humid. That's why I made my socks were soggy. I mean, it's just amazing. It's a very humid thing. But look at these pictures. So I'm definitely going to check the settings on the Hero Session, because they're the same. They're the same family of cameras. The image sharpness, though, it can't compete with on this bigger camera. The lens here. Look at that. Look at those pictures. So at this point here, the battery was kind of running out of power, so I don't think we got much more out of this other than me. Got about a little over an hour's worth, and so hopefully next week we'll get even more. I just don't like to get 2 to 3 hours of clips to sort through and try to do these edits. So I hope you guys enjoyed riding along with us. But this was pretty much what we did on Saturday.